Welcome back to In Another World with my smartphone. Anime Review, episode number 4. This is reviewing the 13th episode of Another World with my smartphone, which is Engagement Rings and Hot Spring. Yep. Now, yes, I brought this series back after 3 years being gone. Well, the reason because I was waiting for season 2. I was really hoping for season 2. And then apparently on my birthday last year, we got season 2. 1 year later, like almost exactly 1 year after they made that announcement, we got season 2. We have the dub premiering today. Wow, 1 year later. Awesome. Now, when it comes to this particular episode, I thought that with the end of the previous season, after they finished adapting book 3, but while I read book 3, they didn't. They only adapted chapter 2. Yes. Now, book 3... Now, here's the thing. Here is what a normal smartphone, the light novel, looked like. Yes, I thought they went to this book. Nope, they didn't. We started on book 3, and I think, from what I can tell, I don't think they did finish out the book per se. They mostly put from this particular book, adapted from chapter 3 and the first interlude. Yes, there is an interlude, which they kind of put toward the end of the chapter. I was kind of surprised about that. Now, also, I should point out something interesting about these light novels. I did not know what the size of these were. Now, I originally read this book 3 years ago digitally, and then I bought the book physically. And I've been buying the book since then. As a matter of fact, I own like all 25 books released here. I think that book 26 is releasing in a couple months. Now compare that to, let's say, the only other book I would probably think of, like, let's say, this one right here, which I'm currently reading, which is How Realistic About the Kingdom, which I'm hoping for season 2 of this one. Look how much smaller the books are. Yeah, that is how big these books are. Now, I thought basically when they started to see, I thought we skipped some stuff, and they kind of did mostly. Now, they do keep a good chunk of basically what is here from chapter 3. They cut all the side bits out and some extended dialogue, but mostly put the main juice of the story, though they did some montages for this particular chapter. In the case of the interlude, that's pretty much all intact. It's the chapter 3 that made cuts, which, yeah, I kind of felt that was fine. Now, we do not have a scene at the guild, which we do have a scene of that in the previous season, but not this season for some reason. I don't know why the Adventurers Guild does not make an appearance in this episode, despite the fact they do appear in chapter 3 of this book. Now, I get kind of the reason why they wanted to do this, because if you think about it, you start this episode like, wait, why are they already in the action already? Even though that's not what the chapter starts up, because they're given this assignment by the Adventurers Guild, which of course they do mention the episode, which, okay, so they mentioned the scene, but we didn't necessarily need to show it. Okay, so we're kind of progressing the story off here. And so, mostly we have Toya, Yae, Yumina, Elsa, and Elsie. I want to be sure I get these names correct, because it's... By the way, it has been, oh my gosh, like, if you're really curious, it has been about 3 years since I've reviewed this series. Basically, it's Toya, Yumina, Yae, Elsa, and Lindsay would have basically deal with golems at the start of the episode. So, in order to deal with them, well, first they all attack them, and then of course Yae gets her katana broken, which does get fixed in the later part of the episode. So then of course you have Toya transport him to the sky, drop him 10,000 feet in the sky, drop him down, and eventually destroyed by... Now, as with Taxi uses the destroy, that's all from the book. Like, having Lindsay use basically her, like, bubble bombs, and Elsa using her, like, gauntlets, which is nice. Now, Lean is in the episode. She's seen for about 2 scenes. Her first scene is kind of in the book. The last scene is, get this, it's kind of from the start of book 4, but they moved it. Yes, they moved it where the placement was, which is kind of weird. I'll get to that. So, right after they basically take the course. Now, off screen, they do take these Adventure Guild and they all get promoted, the First Class Adventurers. Now, all of them except Yae get promoted to Red, which means the First Class Adventurers. So, and of course, I briefly talked to the maids, and then the car talked to, well, of course, I forgot Cheska. Of course, I came back. Got her because I left the garden there, which is kind of funny. Cheska herself does very briefly one more time in the episode, and that's it. And then Toya gets a call from God. Yep, gets me to him again, and the God of Love. Well, referred to as the Goddess of Love. Not sure why they refer to the Goddess. It's the God of Love, but Jim Morrison doing a quick cameo. And if you're curious, though, does she briefly appear in book 3 in this chapter? Yes, she does. Though she doesn't return again for about 3 books. She isn't returning until about book 6. Yeah, it takes a while to come back, though. She's basically, from that point forward, kind of basically part of the recurring cast because she's playing Toya's sister, which I'll get to that when they get to the Dap Dance. So, at the channel for a while, of course, I mentioned about the engagement rings, which that's most of in the book itself. And, well, pretty much in the way, like, as soon as they deal with, like, well, after they chat for a while, they go back. And then, of course, you have, well, Toya pay visit to his future father-in-law, the King of Belfast. And, well, hear him talk about future grandchildren. Of course, his daughter basically punches him for it, which that did have a book using Excel. Though I think the pronunciation is a little different. I think the Excel is basically usually pronounced EX. Well, it's spelled differently. But my guess is the book probably went with a translation with it pronounced in Japan with Excel. It just basically, it sounds more pronounced with E than A. That's what I think of it. So, after they delay the whole announcement and engagement for a while, most of their dialogue is most from the book itself. And, of course, they go back. And then, of course, you have Toya hang out with Yae for a bit, drop her katana off, get fixed, take a week. And, of course, they hang out with Yae, holding her hand. And then afterwards, he basically goes to visit, like, he needs something to do, go visit the Sun Moon. And mention basically coming a visitors, no much landmark. They do not mention, they do cut the bit where the city that they're in, they suffer from economic slump. So, they're not making much customers. So, now, in the book, they actually have a whole sequence of them building, basically, what we see here in the episode. A hot spring. Yep, which in the book, basically, they basically had a whole sequence of this, which done in the montage, which, yeah, I'm fine with them basically trimming this down because this whole sequence, the hot spring stuff, took up 10 freaking pages. Yes, seriously. Took up 10 pages of a chapter. And then, of course, you have Toya hanging out with some guys, and then Cheska wants to basically come over, though she's censoring her, or using Stingo censor her naughty bits, trying to climb the wall because she's a pervert, because her creator made her a pervert. And then, of course, like, Toya's like, thank God I chanted at the top of the wall with paralyzing. And he's like, well, that's what happens when you try to peep. And then the episode ends with basically, well, before the ending, we do have Yumina basically asking the girls how they fell in love with Toya. This is straight from the book. It's spot on. Yes, of course, we saw it with Ellis and Lindsay and Yue. How Toya was kind to them. And, of course, in the case of Yumina, it was because basically love at first sight. Yep, that was basically what happened. And then, like, not long afterwards, Jessica tries to climb the wall. And then the episode ends with Lean showing up to the men's bath, saying she found it. And that's actually not where she says the line. Because in the book, she says it while entering the reading room at the mansion. Now, my guess is they probably changed it for a gag. That's my personal guess anyways. Yep, but this was a really good episode. It is great the fact I'm hearing this again. Oh, before I end this video, they did make a change to the voice cast from what I've read. They changed Toya's voice actor. Yes, from what I've read, Josh Grohl is not the voice actor for this episode. Despite the fact it kind of sounds like him. But in actuality it isn't. Because they replaced his voice actor Now you're probably thinking, who is his replacement, you might ask. About to bring up on here. Because I initially didn't know this until apparently that... So he's replaced with Bryson Bogus. That is... Well... Now here's the strange thing. I do have a theory of why they decided to replace Josh Groh with this guy. Josh Groh did voice him fantastically in Season 1. Now, there usually is a few different reasons why to replace him. One, scheduling conflict. Number two, legal stuff. Or some controversial comments on Twitter. Or passing away. Josh Groh is very much alive, and he's... Well, the theory I have of why he was replaced, schedule conflicts could be the reason why, but I do have another theory. Apparently, it was revealed last month that Josh Groh is transsexual. Yes, a guy who I met 2 months prior to that seemed like a normal guy. Apparently, didn't want to shake my hand. They wanted to basically take a picture of me for some reason, wear a mask, and he apparently, I don't know why. So he's transsexual. I have nothing to say to this at all. I have no opinion on this. I'm just not going to say anything about it. Because it's not my business. It is his. He chose to do it. Whatever. I'm not sure why he decided to do this, but he did. It basically was last month he revealed he was transsexual. Yes. I don't know why. It is one of the most baffling things. Oh, he's a transgender. Yes, a guy who is a transgender. Basically, he's a non-binary actor. I don't know why in the world he decided to out stuff like this for, but he did. It is quite... My guess is that maybe Crunchyroll did not want to basically get into this, per se. So, they decided... Also, this is something interesting, though, for this season. They changed studios for Season 2. They did? Yeah, the first season done by Production Reed. This season is done by JC Staff. Okay. Not sure why. Which makes this another show this company is working on. It's just by sheer coincidence the season started like a day after Eden Zero season 2. Yeah, it's currently one of like 3 shows airing right now. There's no one airing just in a few days. Now, how long is the season going to last for? Do I think it might be 12 episodes like the previous season was? I'm hoping not, per se. I'm hoping for more episodes. I'm hoping for at least 24 episodes, given the fact that when the original season aired, it aired back in July 2017, you might be thinking, how many light novels were released by that point? By July 2017? The answer is basically 9. Yes, they only had just released up to book 9 in Japan. Well, by the time it started airing anyways. Yes. Though, why in the world they stopped with the second chapter of book 3, I don't know. It is quite surprising. Do I think they're going to get to book 4? Yeah, that's a definite. They're going to go basically book 4 with the very next episode. Which I'm very much looking forward to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I'm definitely looking forward to when they... Well, it looks like next episode they're working on adapting book 4 based on the description I've seen for next couple episodes. With next episode air next week. But hey, I get reviews the season on time, which is great. So yeah, that's particular view. Next up is going to be Eden Zero, and then One Piece, and it's back to Turbo Ranger. Okay, next video. Bye.